Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Janavalabha Giri Govardhan Jai Gopi Janavalabha Giri Govardhan Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're beginning a new chapter today, the first three verses of Canto 10, Chapter 74. Shukadev Goswami said, having thus heard of the killing of Jarasandha and also of Almighty Krishna's wonderful power, it says it's the Anubhavam, a display of power, killing wonderful power, King Yudhishthira addressed the Lord as follows with great pleasure. It says it's prita, pleasure to address the Lord. And it says, Sri Yudhishthira said, all the exalted spiritual masters of the three worlds, together with the inhabitants and rulers of the various planets, carry on their heads your command, which is rarely obtained. It says, Durlabam labdva, rarely obtained. And then that you, the lotus-eyed Supreme Lord, accept the orders of wretched fools who presume themselves rulers is a great pretense on your part, O all-pervading one. Those are the verses. The Lord had been invited to this great sacrifice, which is about to be performed. But at the same time, his devotees were praying to be released from captivity with Jarasandha. And so the Lord went and released these kings who were his devotees, who had been kidnapped and imprisoned and were going to be sacrificed, have human sacrifice by Jarasandha. And then Krishna comes to the Yudhishthira, who's performing this great sacrifice. And so the purpose we will see is of the sacrifice really is for Krishna to be honored. That there's going to be that the most honorable person present will be offered the first worship, and so this is Yudhishthira's plan. And so anyway, so this is about to begin, but then Yudhishthira addresses Krishna in this way, where he says that talks about how Krishna is the master of all of these great beings. There's the devas, there's the Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur says that it says the spiritual masters, the Guravaha, and so he mentions like Sanatan Goswami. So in the material universe, you have above the planets of the devas, you have various higher lokas, and so in Tapaloka, a very high level of this, there's the Kumaras are there, and other really exalted sages who are very, very elevated in the mode of goodness and have a certain type of devotion to the Lord. And then below that you have the devas in Swarga, who are also all devotees. Everybody in the higher planetary systems recognize Krishna's supremacy. They all do, and they all happily are cooperating with the Lord. And so you have the devas control the cosmic functions. Indra, Chandra, Varuna, so many of these beings are there, and above them in a higher level of mode of goodness. This is generally humans can attain swarga through punya karma, pious activities, and then that allows them to go there. It says there are exceptions. You can have super pious activities, a super quantity that can move you beyond that. But in general, it says, according to the Brihat Bhagavatamrita, you have to have a certain level of renunciation, vairagya, in order to go beyond that. There's a deeper realization of self. There's a deeper level of goodness that comes in as you move up the universe towards the Satyaloka, where Lord Brahma is, there's an increasing level of goodness, sattva guna, which means you, among many things, it means that there's a much greater level of self-satisfaction. There's some deeper connection with soul. We're souls, but which are by nature self-satisfied. And because of that, when one is overcome with desire, when there's an emptiness in the heart, due to a lack of connection with the soul, right? Then one really feels a strong impetus to try to fix that, to find ways to fill the empty space in the heart. And that can lead to a pretty strong level of even extreme levels of selfishness. You think of yourself first, you must do that way, trying to relieve this unpleasantness of the empty heart. As one grows in the mode of goodness, one doesn't feel that strong impetus. One can recognize others more. Because first of all, one may just be out for themselves, and a little bit more mode of goodness, you may have people that you care about. Some cross section of people that your family, for your friends, these kinds of things. And then as the mode of goodness comes up, your self-satisfaction increases. Then you begin to see others as being more like yourself. You connect with them. You see the connection between things. You can see the connection between the cosmos and yourself. You see connection with the earth, with everything with yourself. And you begin to because of the self-satisfaction, you begin then to interact in different ways. You're not simply trying to use your environment for your satisfaction. You can have positive exchanges, and then you also see that there's something greater, some great controller, some great power that organizes things. Is a greater understanding of God as you go up. And so all of the beings up there, they have they understand themselves to be under, and happily understand that there's this a supreme, at least a supreme power of some kind, and otherwise a supreme being, and that for them they need to cooperate with that, and that's a good thing for them. It's a good thing for others. It's just a good thing. There's not a rebelliousness against that notion. They understand that this overpowering force for being, is benevolent, and is causing everything to be good. That if you cooperate with the Lord, it's very good. So the devas, it says here, the great kings, even the inhabitants of the planets, they wish to cooperate, and so in that sense they're devotees. But it's a specific kind of devotion that's there. And even with the devas, their particular type of devotion, is their service is not the central part of their existence. They're attached to the situation they're in. They really enjoy their positions as these. I understand they're mini controllers, but they love the environment in Swarga. They love the enjoyment that they have. They love the service that they do. That's they like that situation, and so they're conscious of the Lord, regularly. He says even the Lord is kind enough to visit them, but their purpose in life is not devotion. Their purpose is a lot more living that life. So it's not an intense type of devotion. They realize that the Lord protects them. They realize that the Lord, has arranged things in a beautiful way. They're fortunate to be able to be in the situation they're in, but their real focus is living that life. So it's a different kind of devotion. See. So what we're aiming at is something a bit more significantly more profound, that we've been given this opportunity, especially by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, to deal with a more powerful and intense version of devotion than you see. Even if you go into the higher the planets above Swarga, into Tapaloka, where the Kumaras are, you have this situation where in Bhagavatam it describes that this Gopakumar who's trying he's been given a mantra. So he's the Gopal mantra. So he sees the Lord as a cowherd boy, but he doesn't understand the theory. He hasn't instructed, so he doesn't understand so much about Krishna. But he has that particular mood of a cowherd boy, and so he's going every place trying to understand what real devotion is. And so he comes to the planets where the Kumaras are, and they're meditating on the Lord. They're sitting and meditating, and their bodies, as you move up in the universe, physical things become more rarefied. They're not as dull and ignorant as they are here. So their physical bodies, when they meditate on the Lord, they have such a deep level of focus that their body changes into that form. They don't become God or think they're becoming God, but it's just a natural reaction. They're meditating on Him, and so whatever is deeply in their minds and hearts, their body shows that. So you can see from the outside which form of the Lord they're meditating on. And Gopakumara has trouble with that. This notion he wants to see the Lord with his eyes. He wants to see the Lord in front of him, not just to be able to go internally and meditate. And they just think he's kind of silly and doesn't understand things very deeply. They say, well, even when you see the Lord in front of you, it's not with your physical eyes. They say it is with this inner vision. So what is the difference between having turning inside and seeing the form of the Lord in the heart, or being able to visualize that way, be able to see the form of the Lord, and having the Lord in front of you. And the difference really is service. So this is the real difference. And so also the spiritual leaders of the universe, they see themselves in many ways as servants, but their situation is more. It's called shanta rasa, where they understand the greatness of the Lord, and they don't see themselves as being able in any meaningful way. When somebody, like we see with Krishna, that, I mean, he says in the Gita that just with one fragment of himself, the Mahavishnu is creating so many material universes, just without any effort whatsoever. So what is it that Krishna, the Lord, needs from us in any conventional way? What can we provide that he can't provide for himself very easily? And nothing. He's got he can create material worlds, spiritual worlds. He's got so many dimensions there in the spiritual world. So what does he need from us? And so from any kind of normal perspective, nothing at all. And so they just in awe, they contemplate the Lord and acknowledge his presence and acknowledge that they must cooperate and are happy to do so. But the difference with Gopakumara is that he has understood something of the Lord's sweetness. So there's kind of two sorts of controls there, two sorts of things that you have to understand about Krishna. First of all, there's the greatness, his Aishvarya, his power, his majesty, his limitless ability to do anything. And it's important that we know that. But the other thing that causes the heart to overflow, and this is bhakti is an overflow. Real bhakti is an overflowing of the heart. As we come into bhakti, we don't have that. We're coming in with our empty hearts, and we're moving towards that. But the extraordinary thing with Krishna is that, I mean, he could have all the universes and just control everything himself. He doesn't need anybody else. In fact, he doesn't need universes. He's completely self-satisfied. What does he need? So the situation with Krishna, that devotees, that we as devotees who have a particular um, have a particular opportunity is to understand Krishna's sweetness, his madhurya. And this is in some ways Yudhishthira is understanding this because he has a sweet relationship with Krishna. They're friends, you know. And we see that in the Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna sees the universal form and he's snapped out of his kind of friendly relationship with Krishna. But what Krishna really wants, the Krishna does need something. I mean, he wants something. Let's put it that way. His heart also he's completely self-satisfied, but he's understood that there's something that's most beautiful. It's when the heart is able to be so saturated that it just naturally overflows. This is bhakti. And so this is the life that Krishna has made for himself and has invited us to participate in. And so for the persons who understand deeply Krishna's power and majesty, um, there is a certain distance there. They feel that there's, I mean, that there is such a quantitative difference between us and the Lord, and so there's great respect and awe, right? There's awe and veneration, and so they feel that they can't really be intimate with Krishna. I mean, he's so much greater than they are. So that it's a one sense it's a very good thing. They have great respect for the Lord, but they don't feel that they can, they can follow his order, they can do what they're supposed to do, but they don't feel that there's anything that they can do for him personally. That they're just it's just a huge categorical difference between the Lord and them that which is true, all right? Which is absolutely true. But what they don't understand is that what the Lord is looking for is that he's one. There's in one sense, right? We have the Achintya Beta Tattva philosophy that somehow everything is one, and yet everything but also it's simultaneously different. There's everything is just the existence of the Lord. So there's only only Krishna existing. Right? Prabhupada says, that everything is Krishna, but nothing is Krishna except his his personal form. So everything there is existing. It's all Krishna's existence. Without Krishna, it doesn't exist. It's all, in one sense, forms of Krishna's energy. Everything is there, but yet uh, Krishna is an individual, and so he's done that in order that he can not just be one, but become many. So the one becomes many, in order that he can experience and the others can experience this overflowing of the heart, which is better than full satisfaction and peace and shanti. It's something that's so captivating and wonderful that keeps growing, that it keeps Krishna captivated. And so the reason why other beings exist besides Krishna is this, is that Krishna wants to have these loving and real, prema, this loving interaction. Hmm. And so in some ways, and even the exalted devotees in Goloka Vrindavan, it's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says when they're separated from Krishna, they can understand that Krishna is the supreme Lord, but their attachment for him, their love for him is so great that it doesn't interrupt their mood. So persons like Arjuna and Yudhishthira, they sometimes flip a little bit back and forth, like you saw with Arjuna in the Gita. When he sees the universal form, he says, "Oh, Krishna, I haven't treated you with enough respect. I've been treating you, in a very familiar way, and this isn't appropriate." And then, of course, Krishna returns to he takes that away, and then he's with his friend again, and so that switches back. You see that when Krishna kills Kamsa, his parents, Vasudeva and Devaki, are there. And when they see that, they come in a very worshipful mood to see him. And then he speaks to them in very sweet ways, very, very sweet ways. And he says, "Oh, we had to leave you as young children out of fear of come, so we couldn't do anything for you. And so then they think of him as their child again, and it's very sweet. Mm. So so Krishna's sweetness allows people to put aside the strong consciousness of his greatness, and in that case, the heart becomes so full that here is such a wonderful person who's who's, I mean, just unimaginably beautiful and charming and wonderful, and it just causes the heart to overflow. And so the service of advanced devotees and transcendental devotees comes from this, this overflowing of the heart, which for us we have to consider both things. We have to, and even with the residents of Vrindavan, when they're in separation, they understand something of Krishna's greatness, and that just makes them think that my friend is amazing, even more amazing than I thought. They don't think that, oh, he's not my friend, he's the Lord, but they think that way. It's the power of his sweetness captivates them. So for us, it's important to understand the Lord's power, and because we need to be able to feel that we have shelter there, and to have some real notion of Krishna's value. That's important. But when we begin to understand his sweetness, that even though we are tiny beings in comparison to the Lord, that we're actually created, we're little, it says he's in the Gita, it says that we're anshas, little particles of the Lord, but that we've been created for a wonderful purpose. The Devas are understanding the Lord, they're happy about it, and these other folks are happy about it, that the Lord is powerful and he's controlling everything, and they're going to cooperate with him, and through that they also have a good life. For us, we can understand that the Lord can protect us, that we have shelter, right? When Krishna says to surrender, he says, take shelter of me. The word sharanam is shelter. That by approaching Krishna, we don't our other worries can disappear, because we're dealing with the most powerful being, the only, in one sense, the only powerful being. All powers come from Krishna. We can feel secure and protected, and that's important to us, because we live in a place of fear. But at the same time, if that understanding of power keeps us at a distance, then it doesn't allow for this real love to happen. And so we can understand how Krishna, it's mind-blowing, but Krishna wants to associate with us. He doesn't, like the Devas, they're fine. He appreciates them. They cooperate with him and all that types of stuff, but they don't want to associate with him all the time. Right. And so for Gopakumara, he wants Krishna to be in front of him. He wants to see him with his eyes. He doesn't want to just be meditating in the heart, because he wants to do something active. He wants to actively express his love. It's a love induces action. We want to do that. We want to do something for the Lord. That's what happened. And this is the gopis had the same problem with Uddhava, who was trying to explain to them his all pervasiveness. Yeah, he's gone, but he's everywhere. So you can feel connected in that way. And they know that already, but it's not satisfying. They want Krishna in front of them, because then they can directly please him. They want to see him be pleased, because that's a burden of their heart. That being connected with Krishna has caused their heart to be filled up, to overflowing, and they need to express that. It's a burning desire. It says, this is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says that Krishnadas Kaviraj says that it's like, that the prema is both sweet. It's like, I think he compares it to like boiling sugarcane juice. It's very sweet and tasty, but it's burning. So it's an urgent need to please Krishna, because he's pleased you so much. He's caused your heart to overflow. You need to express that. And if not, it just your life has no meaning. So you see when the especially the residents in Braj, are separated from Krishna. They just can't do anything. There's no purpose in their life whatsoever, because this is, and it's painful because they can't express their hearts in the way that they need to. Of course, they're doing it another way by their intense meditation on Krishna. So they're remembering him and remembering their leelas and all that kind of stuff and going over that. But to them, it's like it's they need to express their heart and somehow they can't really do it, and so it feels very painful to them. So there's a burning need to express that. So the devotion is, it's not like it ceases to become any kind of an intellectually mediated process and just becomes something powerful. So for us, I think if we understand the greatness of the Lord, and then we understand that somehow, some way, we're valued by him. This is why Lord Chaitanya comes. This is why Krishna comes. That he sees us as valuable, even though we're infinitesimal. And he wants us. Like he's not coming here for any reason of his own. He doesn't, he has, in the spiritual world, he has so many devotees. He has so many different, Vaikuntha planets and the Goloka Vrindavan planet. He has everything. So we're not going to, our devotion is not going to add anything to him that's measurable. But what he's doing is he wants us to be happy. And he knows that we're suffering here. And so his heart is so soft, and through his love, that he comes here and tries to persuade us to join him. So it's great compassion. It's not even just mercy, it's compassion. Where he understands that we're suffering and we're missing out on this amazing thing. So he comes. He makes an endeavor. And as Lord Chaitanya, it's a very urgent endeavor because he's in the mood of devotion. And so he urgently wants us uh, uh, to give up our narrow view of existence and try to take up this path where we can end up with love and hearts overflowing and intimately connected with Krishna and his devotees. And so when we can put next to each other Krishna's greatness and his sweetness, right? His compassion, his care, his love for us that he has already, that should begin to soften our hearts. The heart is pretty stubborn, but it should begin to do that. And we should move from just, from looking at our self-interest, from looking at the understanding that here's the Lord and it's a pious thing and it's the proper thing to serve him because he's so great, and to begin to see, to have some comprehension of Krishna's love for us that's pre-existing, that brought him here, that wants him to try to persuade us and to endeavor to persuade us to come back. But he doesn't need us. It's only his heart needs to be satisfied. Look at so many souls here living, in ways that aren't satisfying. Let me help them. That someone so great should be so interested in us who are so small should touch our hearts. It's less about being pious or less about being knowledgeable or less about being on the right path. But we need to appreciate the great fortune. Here it says in the verses, right, that the controllers, if it's very rare, but they will get some direct order from the Lord and they can do it. Well, here we have a direct interaction. Krishna has come and he's inviting us. And Lord Chaitanya has invited us into a situation where we be closely connected. It's not even an order, but it's a please come. It will be good for you. This is how sweet the Lord is. Instead of ordering us to do something, demanding from something, he says, please, and I'll help you. Right? Krishna says he'll help us. So the sweetness of the Lord should begin to, soften our hearts and eventually fill the heart. This is the path of bhakti. It's not just about being, very controlled and rigorous and determined and all these types of stuff, but there has to be some softening of the heart for it to really to flow. We can become very fixed up in our sadhana. We can become very, you know, have a strong determination and a nice intellectual conception of what we're trying to do, and try to behave in proper ways and this kind of stuff. And that's helpful to us, of course. But there has to be a corresponding. If we really want to grow, we has to be this corresponding understanding of how profound it is that the Lord loves us right now and is concerned about us, even in our fallen state, and that He wants us to be connected with Him in a very close and powerful way. He wants us to go to Him, to be with Him in His personal space. And how undeservable that is, and how that's just how that simply is an expression of love. So if our hearts need to be a little softer, so that then our service and our sadhana begins to have some infusion of real gratitude and joy. All right, so I think we need to stop here and open the floor here for comments and questions. Yes, unconditional. So that means we've not met any conditions in so many lifetimes, but yet here we are. So comments or questions?
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
What a marvelous and brilliant class explaining the strata, the different levels of awakening, and of course the goal of that softening and that ultimate loving relationship, and not just applying ourselves to some bunch of rules and ways to make advancement. And we were, during the class, I was praying to Srila Prabhupada what to say. And our understanding is that in addition to our own endeavor, responding to Krishna's invitation, that there are other voices speaking to us. There's the voice of Guru and Shastra, and then the voice of my own mind and senses, and even demoniac influences. They're just like in the cartoons, they have a little angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other shoulder, and they're both speaking to the soul and trying to convince us to go one way or the other. And it's actually interesting to remember that the mind and senses are lying to me. My mind and senses tell me, this is good, you'll like this will satisfy you, and it's a lie. And then to like choose who to listen to, who to speak, who we allow to speak into our life, who we look up to, what quality of persons we choose to associate with. And if we associate with people that are second class and look at them, we'll become third class, and we'll think that's normal. But this high level that you're describing is so much superior and the best of all possibilities. But we have to, as far as I can understand, we have to be able to distinguish those two different kinds of voices and specifically choose who we're going to listen to.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, of course, a lot of those voices, there are kind of a huge amount of inertia. We've been thinking and being in a certain way for countless lifetimes, and so we've developed a big faith in these types of things. And so the mind is, a product of habit, and so it comes with us, through the subtle body. So a lot of those things, it's just our tremendous inertia. We've been thinking and being and doing a certain way for many, many lifetimes. And so so right now we're divided. We have a divided intelligence. And and of course we try to recognize that, but the one huge thing we have to do is realize that we can't do that alone. That we do not have the power to become devotees. We do not have the power to overcome the deep conditioning and habits that we've developed over things. And so we really need grace, which is freely available for Krishna. So I think we have to consider our own helplessness. And so sometimes we may think we're not worthy of the Lord's grace. We need to become better first. But Krishna is offering grace first. The first thing that happened that caused us to consider Krishna was an act of grace, a causeless act of grace. Or the other thing is we think that, well, I just need some help, but I can mostly do it myself. And so both of those things really are obstructing the grace that naturally wants to flow. We're putting artificial barriers towards that. And so there's a certain helplessness that here we have this wonderful thing that's available to us. We see ourselves. And I can't go from one place to the other without an awful lot of help. And Krishna is ready to jump in with that, you know.
We just read the verses before this saying that. How do you get from here to there? And you actually need to reach out and desire. But sometimes we hear devotees say, well, it's a gradual process, you know, and of course it is.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to be fanatical and legalistic and demand everybody to come to the highest platform immediately, but we can at least hear about the higher platform and we can desire it and we can endeavor toward it, or we can become a little sluggish and complacent and get stuck in the mode of goodness, in the demigod level.
Yeah.
And that's the test for most of us right now. Are we going to persevere and for Krishna's pleasure, you know, really try to shake off all these lesser possible levels that we can come to.
Yeah.
And really, really desire, like Prabhupada said, you know, Bhutta Bhavana was asking him, do we have to specifically desire pure devotional service? Prabhupada said yes. What that means in application is that we're not just trying to be a pious Hindu living at home taking care of our deities, but we're actually called by Lord Chaitanya and specifically and emphatically by Srila Prabhupada, we must give Krishna consciousness to others, that we have a mission. If we see somebody in a burning building, or we see somebody drowning, or we see somebody, you know, in pain. I saw the other day, this lady was blind. She had a cane. She was walking out and there was one car, she was crossing the street, one car that was leaning into the crosswalk and she couldn't see it. And she walked right into it and fell down on the street. And people jumped out of the cars and came to lift her up. You know, so that pleases Krishna. Krishna says, no one is more dear to me than one who preaches this message of total surrender. Don't forget where we're going. Don't get stuck in a level of not the best. Anyway, I'm talking too much. Over to show Prabhupada, maybe somebody else.
Thank you. Someone else?
Dr. Hugo, I think, had his hand up.
Yeah. Bhakti Center also.
Hare Krishna.
There he is.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Well, I'm heading out, but I can say something real quick. Thank you, Giri Govardhan Prabhu, for the class. I'm appreciating this point that you emphasize, that even though we're not stopping on reverence as devotees following Srila Prabhupada, following Gauranga Mahaprabhu, still there's a place for awe and reverence in that, like, just understanding, like, oh, this person that I'm worshiping, like, really all powerful and supreme, like he can really help me, like I'm safe under his shelter. Yeah. And what comes to mind is this past weekend I was in Prabhupada Village for a festival, and it was the 5 Rasas festival. And so the entire festival was themed around the 5 Rasas. So starting the first day of the festival, the morning was Shantaras, and we had a class on Shantaras, kirtans themed around that, prasadam themed around that, and then moving up to Dasiras, Sakiras, etc. But so in the class on Shantaras, the class giver made a very interesting analogy that just like we have 5 elements, we can say we have 5 rasas. And amongst the elements, ether is the most subtle. We can't really perceive it on its own, but it's the space within which all the other elements are held. And he was saying that similarly, Shantaras, it's like the space within which the other rasas are held. And with
Oh,
that, I
that's
think
nice.
and with that, I think of something that Jiva Goswami writes, where he says that awe and reverence is very important because it's only once we get to that point that the intimacy of Krishna means something. Otherwise, we get into that sahaja mood, like, oh, like this, he's like we just kind of we can have a temptation to just enter the Ras Leela, hang out with Krishna. But it's when we understand, like, oh, this is the greatest of the greatest, the supreme, the creator of all, omniscient, omnipotent, and at the same time, I get to play with him as a friend. It's when both those understandings are there and we transition and we evolve that it becomes that intimacy really like means something profound for us. Thank you for the class, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the comments. Yeah, that causes the heart to overflow because when we think of Krishna just as being a sweet little person that we can easily approach, then we take the little bit of tiny love that we have here in this dimension and think I can love Krishna with that. And we can be friends, we can have a good time together, but the prema is a much more profound thing. And so that you can't pretend that. That's not accessible to us now. So we have to work with that. So Manohar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Giri Govardhan Prabhu. Thank you for giving class this morning. A question, it's a little interesting. In the examples given, like Guru Kumar, he has a particular concentration on Krishna. So my question is, like, for us, we also have Gaura Lila also, Mahaprabhu coming in, or Krishna coming in that form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So how does one gradually come to that fixation on, I guess, a particular mood or form of the Lord, like whether it be Krishna or Chaitanya, etc.? How does one, kind of fixate that attraction?
My understanding is that can come at a very high level of sadhana. And so in particular, the stage of asakti, where one really becomes clear. I think there's a commentary on the Shikshastakam, I think, by Siddhanta Saraswati that talks about that one, that verse in the Shikshastakam, the 5th verse, that's asakti. And so at that point, you can really begin to understand your connection with your particular connection with Krishna. We may be attracted to something right now, and I don't think we can guarantee that that's some like eternal connection that we have. We may have some preference for certain reasons, but we can't. We now first of all have to have the heart become fuller, have more gratitude, have more need for Krishna's mercy, and then that can become very specific. When it becomes very specific, it intensifies a great deal. But we have to be a lot more right now. Like Adipurusha, we're two minds. We're not ready for that, and so at least we have to become of one mind, and then have some. At one mind there's this nishta, and then you come where you really strongly have one mind, right? The 4th verse that Shikshastakam is ruchi, and so no, I don't want any of these other things, and that a sakti. Material things don't come to you. It's just like So at now we're like trying to fight a little bit. Both things are attractive. At Nishta we go, no, I'm not interested in these things. I understand the importance of what I'm doing. At Ruchi, it's like, give me a break. I've got something more. And then at Asakti, it's just like, what else is there? Right. And so for right now, we have to move towards, we don't have to worry about so much what our eternal relationship is, but just like what broadly the relationship is like. It's a beginning to have appreciation and have the heart become softer and fuller. I think it's time for the
To be seen by the Lord. Thank you, Giri
yeah,
Govardhan.
yeah, it's time for us to be seen.
Thank you for a wonderful class.
Shri Radha Murida Gaurachandra Sri Bhagavani ki Shri Prabhupada ki.
Jai. Welcome to the Afterglow. Is Giri Govardhan Prabhu still here? Good.
I'm still here.
Good. Any questions for Giri Govardhan Prabhu? Okay. Any comments, any reflections? William
William.
Prabhu,
Thank you so much for class today, Prabhuji. Thank you. Can you hear me?
You can, yeah.
Wonderful. I was at the Sri Radha Govinda temple just a couple of days ago, and I had made a contribution, a donation. I had like a water cooler. I had a water cooler that they needed. They weren't looking for a water cooler. I just thought they could use it. So they were like, "Oh my God, Krishna, Hare Krishna." I was like, so I wasn't looking for anything in return, right? And I'm like, I said to them that, my chanting has improved, my japa has improved. I'm waking up in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning.
did that happen after you donated the water cooler?
Everybody's gonna run out and grab water, right?
Stop it. So I said, I'm sorry, I lost my thought. Ananda Bihari.
I'm sorry.
So okay, so one of the Prabhujis, he came up to me, he was like, "So, do you have all of Prabhupada's books?" I said, "No." He said, "Would you like to come with me?" I said, "Sure." I followed him into the back. And then he gave me this big box of Prabhupada's books. I was like, this is what a blessing. I was like, I haven't put it in my shelf yet. I'm still, it's blessed. I think it's blessed. So I said, I'm gonna bless my living room. I'm gonna put it in my living room and bless the living room with these books. But anyway, I want to thank you for class today. You made me think about how important it is to give unconditionally and not expect anything in return. And then, Krishna blesses you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bhima Kaviraj.
Yes, Haribol. I basically want Giri Govardhan's private connection here. I would like to talk to him offline here.
Okay.
Okay, everybody leave.
Yeah. No, I can. I can.
You're gonna discuss Rasa Leela or something confidential?
Let me see. I can put. I'll put my email in the chat. You want to?
Would you please let me? This is Bhima, so just when you get the email, you'll know it's from me. I'm looking on the chat. I don't want to miss it because can you hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we're all intrigued, Bhima. We want to know.
So yeah,
No,
so I put it up in the chat. That's my email. So you can contact me. I'd be happy to talk with you. Your privilege.
Of DC.org. Is it .org?
Yes, .org. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. .org. Yep.
Okay.
Is that all we're getting today, Bhima Prabhu?
That's all you're getting.
Oh.
It's kind of DC.org. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Looking forward to talking to you.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. A question, Giri Govardhan Prabhu. I had a dream yesterday night. And in that dream, Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu was driving Krishna in Toyota Corolla to the temple. And Radha and Krishna were in the back, and Lord Chaitanya was in the front passenger seat, and Jeffrey Eckler was driving. And then Nityananda came to the car and said, "Is there any room for me?" And Jeffrey Eckler said, No, it's a small car. It's a mid-sized car, and we don't have space for you. We can't be too flashy in the material world. Everybody's poor. Everybody's struggling. So we have to keep it simple and humble. So why does Krishna have 16,000 palaces, and why can't he be less fleshy? Maybe that's irritating and disturbing to somebody who is struggling.
Well, of course, for one thing, Krishna wants to share that opulence. Okay, so we shouldn't be disturbed about that. And then the other thing is that Krishna, he wants to satisfy individually all of his devotees. He wants in Vaikuntha. Generally, the residents there look like Lord Vishnu. There's kind of more uniformity there, but especially in Goloka and in Krishna's Leela, everybody's an individual. And so Krishna has all these different palaces because there's 16,108 wives, and he has to satisfy them. They have love for him, and he wants to satisfy them. So he gives them all individual attention, individual situation, individual circumstances. And so that's why he has so many devotees and so many different types of relationships for their happiness. Ultimately, for him, that's what he wants. His heart's overflowing by their love. Right. And so, and I mean, it's not like here, there's kind of seems to be scarcity of resources and things like that, right? If everybody drives a big car and use too much will destroy the earth. Well, the Dwarka is a spiritual place that those kind of scarcity doesn't make any difference. There's more than enough to have that many thousands of palaces and more. It's unlimited. So yeah, we're invited, to be connected with Krishna. And we have our little place there too. So yeah, no worries.
Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu, there's a little palace for you also.
Yeah.
I don't need a palace. I just need a cushion to sit on. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Bhima Prabhu, you have your hand up. Oh, Jeffrey Eckler, please.
I was going to add that, you know, I've been listening to a lecture series by His Holiness Tamal Krishna, and last night I was listening to one of the lectures, and he was talking about the difference between various bhaktas and the residents of Vrindavan, and this ties into what you were speaking to about the sweetness, um, how the Brajbasis have this almost lack of awe and reverence and view Krishna in this very deeply personal way as an equal and even in certain cases as a subordinate. And you know, and he even mentions that you know, even the cows and the bulls take on this Vatsalya rasa, and then to hear you speak this morning. By the way, the golden avatar has given you a golden voice, and it's beautiful. Thank you for the way you speak, Giri Govardhan. It's just it's an enriching way to start a morning. But the sweetness that you spoke of, it just resonated so much this morning. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Oh, well, pleasure to be of some service.
Thank you. Is it true that all the rasas, all the not inferior, but all the predecessing rasas are included in the topmost rasa?
Yeah, it's they all kind of rate. Yeah, there's I mean the gopis, you know, they want to take care of Krishna. They want to be, you know, friends with Krishna. They want all those things. They want to serve Krishna. All those things are there, you know. They're protective of him. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah. So all the things are there. Yeah.
great. Okay, is Bhima Prabhu still here? No, I think, yeah. Tell us what's in that email, okay? Giri Govardhan Prabhu.
Yeah, yes, I haven't received it yet, but we'll see. I guess it's just going to initiate a conversation, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
interesting to find out.
Cool. Okay, anybody else, please? Adipusha Prabhu?
Well, re-emphasizing that idea that there is progression and there are voices beckoning us to go forward, and there are voices beckoning us to go backwards, you know, subtly lying to us. Even my own mind and senses are lying to me, telling me this would be nice, this will satisfy you, you know. And then there are the voices even of devotees who are saying, you know, don't be too fanatic, you know, just don't speak about the highest platform. But even if we're not on the highest platform, we can speak about it, we can hear about it, we can desire it, we can endeavor for it. But I hear people saying, no, don't talk about it because people will be discouraged. But Krishna is pleased with anybody who's doing their sincere best, no matter what platform they're on. But we want to remember where we're going. Otherwise, how can we go forward if we don't know that there's something higher than the level we're on right now?
Thank you. Great point. Giri Govardhan Prabhu, a follow-up question, very briefly. What are the qualifications that someone must have in order to speak about higher aspects of our philosophy in an uplifting way?
Krishna will help.
Yeah, it's
We're
kind of like
talking
that.
about something that's challenging to the false ego, but our motivation is to, just like Omagana, I'm born in the darkness of ignorance. I don't have any, you know, real qualification to speak to this person. But Krishna, please show me what to say and how to say it. So it's not arrogant. It's not demeaning to the other person. It's not holier than thou. It's not spoken out of pride.
Yeah.
But in the Bhagavatam class, we are called upon to speak the highest truth. And if we forbid people to speak the highest truth in the Bhagavatam, then I don't know. Where else can we speak it?
No, it's not that we're forbidden from speaking. Sometimes we come off a little too harsh, you know. So I was thinking
Well-
maybe Giri Govardhan. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the thing is like with regard to what Adi Prabhu said, you know, that I don't think that seeing the highest thing should he said, should be discouraging to people. It should be encouraging because it's worth waiting for. You see, the fact that that's possible, and it's like, oh, I'm not anywhere close to that. Well, okay, that's all right. I'm not anywhere close to that right now, but I'm connected in some way to that, right? And it's possible, you know. And so, and the fact that it's so wonderful and possible should make me really enlivened. Why am I so impatient? That if I can't have it now, you know. So somehow we connect ourselves with that, and even if it takes a long time, it's beautiful. So we need that actually to encourage us. You know?
He's very correct that it can be spoken in a way that's discouraging. When at 26 Second Avenue, Prabhupada said, if you want to go forward in spiritual life, Scripture advises that we follow these regulative principles. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no meeting, no gambling. And the devotee said, Prabhupada, don't tell them that. These are hippies. They're all smoking dope and their girlfriends.
Yeah.
And Prabhupada said, purity is what is attractive. We're not afraid to speak the truth. And the preamble is, if you want to go forward in spiritual life, maybe somebody doesn't want to go forward. But he's saying, if you want this, you know, then there's a price to pay. There's something that will be facilitating that, and there's something that will be impeding that. And if it has to be done nicely. Somebody told me one time, 90% of Krishna consciousness, well, 10% of Krishna consciousness know what to say, and 90% of it is to know when to say it and how to say it.
Yeah.
Because you definitely can beat somebody over the head out of pride and arrogance and discourage them. But it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be spoken. So we have to try to speak it nicely. But we should speak it. We're called to speak it, right?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
a comment. but I just-
Hold it. Karen has
Karen,
been,
yeah, that's what I was going to
raised-
say. Karen has her hand up.
Oh, thank you, William.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Thank you for class. Sorry, can you hear my echo?
A little bit. It's not
It's
bothering
okay
us.
though. It's fine.
Okay. So maybe it's distracting me. Can you? Yeah. I just okay. I see. Sometimes it can be hard to follow class in detail for obvious reasons here.
Right. I'm gonna
But
turn off the
thanks,
this.
Annabelle. Okay, I just wanted to share a really kind of interesting, weird dream I had, which first, you know, I've shared about my desire to be connected with Radhanath Swami, and I am going to a retreat in January with Gauravani and Radhanath Swami, so I'm very excited for that. As a family, we're going. And you know, I come back here to New Hampshire after some time in Switzerland. My husband's still there. And I want to take over my mom's old house that she died last year. And I'm trying to do that. And it's really challenging for so many reasons, personal reasons and financial reasons mostly. But I don't know if I've shared before, but I'm an acupuncturist, and I'm also homeschooling the kids. And I started practicing here at the house and also homeschooling, and it just sort of like happened. Like I didn't put a lot of effort into promoting that I'm here. It just sort of like I was trying to work at a spa. It's just a different thing. But anyways, it's just happened that I'm kind of booked in the last month treating people in this room here, and which is great. But the house itself is so old. It's from 1790, I think. And it's, you know, the chimneys are crumbling. There's rot and all this stuff. And so anyway, I was kind of praying I have little deities from the Zurich temple. The president of the Zurich temple gave me when I left, of Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. And I was sort of praying to Jagannath last night and just asking him for guidance, and also for connection with Radhanath Swami and spiritual mentor. And anyway, to get to my weird dream that I can't exactly explain how it relates, I had this dream last night that I was looking at my old big house, my big old giant house, which in the dream was way older and way bigger and way more dilapidated. And like from that field out there, looking back, we see these giant, grandiose double doors on like 2 or 3 levels that opened up, and they were like falling apart, you know. And then I discovered other parts of the house, other floors of the house that I had forgotten that I had seen in childhood, and I completely forgot existed and might have remembered later, but then forgot again. And then Radhanath Swami was there, and I was like giving him a tour, a tour of the house. And we're going to these like abandoned floors and like half renovated, half falling down parts of this house. This is all made up. Not, this doesn't exist here. I don't have these parts of the house that I know of. And we're looking at it, we're laughing and joking about like these weird old appliances, and just like this, it's like this sort of colossally like impending kind of collapse kind of situation. And he's coming through, he's like checking it out, laughing about it. And that's about all I remember. There's a lot more that I don't, and I also don't understand it, but I just kind of wanted to share that interesting episode. Hare Krishna.
Giri
Thank you.
Govardhan Prabhu, so what's your interpretation of that dream, please?
I mean, I think, you know, Krishna is showing his presence there. I think that's part of also your question. How do we have something that seems to be so rigorous, and we present it and not have it be discouraging for people? You know, not wow, we can, because any connection we have with Krishna, the tiniest connection is glorious and wonderful, and so we should celebrate that when people have any connection. We sometimes we put like, like William was saying, you know, how he's been getting up and chanting, and so we celebrate that when they do that, definitely. But sometimes we'll do like kind of the opposite. If somebody hasn't made progress, we'll kind of like, okay, that's great. We need to celebrate what connections they do, and then also we have to remember that Krishna is going to help us if we're willing to help, if we're willing to be helped. Krishna wants to help us, so it's not that we have to be something extraordinary to accomplish this. We can be the people we are, and if we really have that, if we have that clear desire in our hearts that this is we want to move in that way, and that we need help, Krishna will provide that help. So I see somehow, you know, your prayer to Jagannath was partially answered, that hey, things are going to be okay. And even though you might not be able to see the path through that right now and know how you're going to do that right now, but that Krishna is saying, you know, Radhanath Swami is there, and Krishna is there, and things are gonna work out for the best, you know.
Thank you.
Cool.
Hare Krishna. I love that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Don't mute yourself, Karen. Hold on. We're gonna wrap it up on this high note. And Isaiah, are you ready?
Isaiah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Isaiah. Thank you. Thank you, Giri Govardhan Prabhu. Thanks everyone on this call. We love you. We need you. Come again tomorrow. Krishna's mercy is undeservable, yet whatever little connection we may have with him is glorious. Summing up, Giri Govardhan Prabhu.